The Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is finally here in India and I'm switching to this phone. I'm Ershad, you're watching Trakin English, and this is my 2-day review of what could possibly be deemed as the best Android flagship out there. Quickly for context, on a daily basis I use the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, which invariably gets replaced by whatever phone I'm reviewing. Essentially, my SIM keeps getting switched between these phones, and now it's inside the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, the burgundy variant of this phone. Now this color is very similar to the mystic bronze color of the Note 20 Ultra, it's only slightly darker. Although I'm genuinely disappointed that you don't get the green variant of the phone or the online-only exclusives like sky blue and red here in India. Samsung, if you're watching this video, please get these colors here too. Anyway, it goes without saying that the Galaxy S22 Ultra is thicker and denser than the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. While I'm not a fan of big phones, since I've been using all of these big phones lately, I'm kind of used to the size now. Now on the S22 Ultra, you get this armor aluminum frame with Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and the back, which makes it feel extremely sturdy to hold and use. Not to mention, since this is a Samsung top-of-the-line flagship, it feels extremely premium too. You get tight tolerances in the power button and the volume rocker, which are placed at the optimum position. And the thicker frame makes the device feel more planted in the hand in comparison to the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, which has a very slim frame. And because of this, the in-hand feel of the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is extremely reassuring. And to be fair, the Galaxy S22 Ultra's large size feels justified as opposed to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which feels unnecessarily bulky and heavy. Because with the Galaxy S22 Ultra, you get an S Pen inside it, there's a larger 5000 mAh battery, and you get 2 telephoto cameras as well. It packs in a lot, and this is more than what most people will require anyway. Now talking about the S Pen, I don't use it often, but boy, it feels like actually pen to paper or pencil to paper, whichever mode you choose. I'm genuinely compelled to take more handwritten notes now. The lower latency and the predictive text makes writing feel like a breeze. I also want to share a couple of anecdotes. I have a friend who is a tattoo artist in Bangalore, and every year he ends up buying the latest Galaxy Note phone. He's definitely going to appreciate the kind of improved S Pen performance on this phone. Also, my video editor is a huge anime fan and he tried the phone, he enjoyed it too. And you know what's the other thing that my video editor absolutely loves apart from the S Pen, of course, is if you guys hit that subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever we put out an awesome new tech video. And if you like our videos, don't forget to hit that like button as well. By the way, I like the fact that the S22 Ultra doesn't really have a camera bump like the S21 Ultra. The fact that you only get a tiny protrusion of these camera rings actually makes it look very clean, minimal, and aesthetic. But yes, it does catch dust very easily in regular usage, but I'm going to be using it with a skin or a case anyway, so that doesn't really matter. Now, a change that I noticed a lot of international reviewers had highlighted was the fact that the S22 Ultra now comes with an X-axis vibration motor.
The vibration motor, this is a small thing, but I mentioned it also in the S22 review. They changed the type. So it went from a Z-axis vibration motor to an X-axis vibration motor,
as opposed to the Z-axis motors inside the Note 20 Ultra and the S21 Ultra. Now what that basically means is that the Z-axis motor is placed vertically as opposed to the X-axis motor, which is placed horizontally. Now when it's placed vertically, you get more space and the vibration feedback is more pronounced as a result. And therefore, when the phone vibrates, you don't miss out on calls. Makes a lot of sense. I actually prefer an X-axis motor because it helps me type faster, as you can tell from this typing test on your screen right now. Plus, if you go into the vibration feedback setting, you will notice that Samsung can make the phone vibrate precisely to the tone of the ringtone, which wasn't earlier possible on the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Now coming to the display on the S22 Ultra, it goes without saying that it is mad good. And it is the brightest display yet on a smartphone. You have to see it to believe it. Now there is a special setting that lets you push the display to a maximum of 1750 nits in media apps like YouTube and Netflix. And in certain HDR videos, when there is a peak brightness scene happening, it can actually blind you. It's that bright. And couple that with the dual speaker setup with Dolby Atmos support, the multimedia experience on this phone is unmatched. Sometimes I actually feel like watching my shows on this phone instead of my big TV. But yes, the edges are a little too curved, and I actually preferred the minimal curvature of the S21 Ultra. The extra degree of curvature is a bit of a hindrance while playing games like I've mentioned before. And now that we're at the topic of games, Samsung has actually listened to customer feedback and added a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor instead of its homegrown Exynos 2100 system on chip. While I was really excited to test out the Exynos 2200, the initial reports comparing the two chips are not in favor of Samsung's chip. There's a report on XDA by Adam Conway where he compares the two chips and he clearly highlights that the Exynos 2200 variant of the S22 Ultra is a bit of a compromised experience. And I can clearly tell that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 inside the S22 Ultra actually feels really smooth to use even in the optimized performance mode. Plus you can push the chip to perform in high performance mode while playing games. I did play Call of Duty Mobile and it plays at max graphics and it was a lot of fun to play on the Galaxy S22 Ultra. But it did get slightly warm when I was out and about in Pune. But in the defense of the Galaxy S22 Ultra, it was really hot and I was also pushing it to its limits by shooting a lot of pictures and of course using GPS extensively as well. Let it be known though that this is not my full analysis of the performance of the S22 Ultra. I'm still testing it out. Stay tuned for that full review. That said though, you shouldn't look at the Galaxy S22 Ultra as a performance monster or a gaming phone. For that you have different alternatives. What Samsung tries to do with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip inside the S22 Ultra is actually push it to its limits in different aspects. That includes multitasking, that includes camera processing, and a lot of other stuff that you want to do with a productivity obsessed phone. Now to achieve that level of productivity, you do get a 5000 mAh battery inside the phone, but I didn't expect it to do any wonders with battery performance. I feel that the big battery inside the Galaxy S22 Ultra is a necessity and not for getting 2-day performance out of it. You need that much power for the S Pen, the super bright display, and not to forget a really powerful Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip. I got around 5 hours of battery life with the phone, but that's just my first 2 days of usage. I'll come with more detailed battery analysis in my full review. As for the cameras, a detailed camera comparison is coming soon, but I did take the cameras out for a spin in Pune like a layman would and took a lot of shots with it. The focus this time around is on enhanced portrait mode and night photography, which Samsung calls nightography for some reason. Now that cringe marketing term aside, the night shots look absolutely stunning, whichever lens you choose. The kind of details and dynamic range performance that you can achieve with the camera makes you sometimes wonder if you're actually shooting with a phone camera. And night videography also seems to have improved. But what I really loved about the S22 Ultra is the portrait photography. It is so good. Just look at the portraits. The edge detection in day and in night looks absolutely stunning. And even selfie portraits look very good. Also, zoom photography is where Samsung just kills it. I mean, just look at the shot of the cat taken with the 10x zoom camera, or this shot of Mahatma Gandhi's room inside Aga Khan Palace. The ability to punch in closer is such a godsend when you're out and about shooting in the streets on any city. For example, I couldn't read the established date for Pune's iconic Irani Cafe Good Luck, and the Galaxy S22 Ultra came to my rescue. The only minor issue I noticed with the camera is that it tends to overexpose the brighter portions of the image in certain HDR situations. And until you wait for my detailed analysis of the cameras inside the Galaxy S22 Ultra, take a look at this montage of postcards from Pune. By the way, the Galaxy S22 Ultra runs on the latest version of One UI with Android 12 as its base. One UI is a fantastic software experience now. Samsung's interpretation of the Android theming engine is really nice. Plus, I really love the attention to small details such as the fact that you can actually search within widgets, which is not available on many operating systems. And every Samsung fan knows that you must download Good Lock and check it out. Clearly, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is an excessive phone for most users. Even I don't know if I'm going to be pushing the limits of this phone. This is the epitome of a premium luxury Android experience. And it took a lot of effort for me not to say Galaxy Note 22 Ultra throughout the video. I'll let you know how the switch goes. Until next time, this is Ershad. Keep tracking and stay safe.